Hi guys, so I'm just coming on to, I guess, talk a little bit about the energy update here with this new moon in Aquarius. And I was about to say Leo, and it's interesting because Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo. And so I know a lot of people right now are facing a lot of emotions. And if you're not, well, then this message is not for you, or you haven't yet reached that point where you are facing the discomfort. The uncomfortable emotions are bound to pop up this year. So with Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, and Saturn, another ruler of Aquarius, squaring 3 times this year, and there's a bunch of other, squares with Mars happening. And so it's really about, where are you still holding on to old paradigms, old belief systems? Your old self is now coming into perspective, showing up. You're probably getting all these memories, right? Because Mercury is retrograde for another 3-4 weeks. And you're like, well, where is that coming from? Why am I thinking about that issue? Why am I thinking about that ex? Why am I feeling so weird and ashamed and guilty? So all these feelings of not feeling good enough are going to come up, because Aquarius, the opposite sign, is Leo, and Leo is all about feeling good and all about expressing itself in its authentic way. So whatever situation that's presented itself to you in your life has made you realize where you were not showing up in your true authentic self. And so the Aquarius energy is all about innovation and future and progressive, and it wants you to really break out of the mold, break out of the old. And in order to break out of the old, you got to kind of do a life review. So if you feel like you've been doing a life review in the last few days, you are, completely in alignment, spot on with the energy. Because if you don't look back to the past and review and really look at who has been there, who has shown up for you, because Aquarius energy is about people. So there's a strong emphasis on your community, the people that you thought that resonated with you. But now that the energies are shifting and you're shifting, you're outgrowing a lot of these relationships, whether that's with, romantic partners, whether that's with family members, whether that's with friends, with coworkers, with anybody at this point. So let's talk a little bit about romantic relationships. Mercury retrograde has this, energy of bringing people from our past. Now, is everyone from the past going to come back? No. Are they going to come back in the physical realm? No. Some will, some won't. It depends on the contract that you signed with this person. It depends on their learning curve as well. So you really need to start practicing discernment, because the word karma is lessons. Whatever you went through with that specific person or that group of people has brought you an enormous amount of lessons, so that you can ascend into a newer, improved, higher vibrational self. So it's not really about those people or about that ex. It's about you looking back and saying, wow, I really changed. That energy of that person doesn't resonate with me anymore. So I'm not saying that some of you don't need to resolve certain issues with an ex or with someone from your past. Maybe a conversation does need to be had, and that's important to tie up loose ends, right? But if you're constantly waiting for that, and you're not getting it, and you're getting frustrated, and it's creating a lot of fear and resentment and doubt, well, then that's something you're going to have to take a look at, because not every person can come back and have that humility to step forward and work things out with us on a peaceful and harmonious level. Is the energy there in the next few days for harmonious conversation? Yes, I did speak about this on one of my posts on Instagram around February 14th. There might be this new energy that comes in where you're having to have a nice conversation with someone to, again, loosen up, tie up loose ends. So I guess the important question to ask during this time, if you do end up having a conversation with someone from your past, is what is their intention? What is your intention? Where are you at? Where are they at? Have they actually changed? How do you really tell if someone's changed? Yeah, sure, they might feel bad and express their regret and their give you all the excuses under the sun about why they, behave that way. But at the end of the day, we need to see change behavior, and that comes with time, and that comes with seeing a pattern over time. So there's a lot of karmic cycles that are going to come up. And again, I feel like a lot of people fear the word karma, but karmic lessons, karmic people have just presented themselves to teach you something valuable. And so my interpretation of the astrology right now, when it comes to people from your past, feels very testy energy. And Saturn, Uranus, that's so testy. So it's basically asking you, have you leveled up? Have you learned your lessons? Do you know your worth? Have you stepped up? Or are you going back to that same person because you're still holding on? You still have codependency issues. You're still relying on an external circumstance, on an external person to make you feel better about yourself. And so I know that there's a lot of people who are just feeling really lonely at this point, right? Because Aquarius energy, the flip side of it is it's very cold, it's very detached, it's very dry, it's very regimented. So we can see that obviously playing out in the global scale, where we are given all these restrictions, and that's also has a lot to do with Saturn restricting us a little bit more. And so we are feeling a little bit more sensitive, vulnerable, lonely, and now it's testing our ability to see, is this something that I should replay? Is this a narrative, a storyline that I want to continue replaying? If I do accept someone from the past during a Mercury retrograde that is essentially made for us to just review and revisit and reanalyze. So it is completely normal that a lot of our old wounds from the past are being reactivated in Aquarian energy, right? Because we need to progress. And in order to progress, we need to still look at what is blocking us from this new life, this new version of ourselves. Aquarian energy at its highest level is connecting to universal intelligence. It's connecting to our galactic family. It's connecting to our higher aspect of ourself that is just waiting for us to get our shit together. So in order for us to integrate that higher aspect, we need to make sure that the wounds that have been preventing us from fully opening up and being our true authentic selves are being acknowledged and are being healed from. So yeah, you might be confronted by certain people that are reactivating those old wounds and those old triggers. So in a sense, it's helping you look at yourself in the mirror a little bit more, and it's helping you purge, right? Because if you look at the Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius axis, we see that Scorpio here is the release point, right? Because of all these squares with Taurus and Aquarius. And so Taurus is beautiful. Scorpio is intense, beautiful energy, but it's looking at our shadows. And sometimes we need to be triggered by someone from the outside in order to confront the shadows and to actually say, okay, now I'm fully integrating into it and I'm acknowledging it. So it's not about, I think, cutting people off and being mean to people. For sure, we need to set boundaries with people who, take us for granted and overstep. But this is about understanding that wound, that energy, that lower vibration that needed to be acknowledged when it came. So how do we know that we fully integrated the shadow and healed? Obviously, we're always healing, right? Healing is not linear. We're always going a few steps forward and taking a few steps back. But we kind of mastered that shadow when it got triggered by someone from the outside. And now we're learning how to be more neutral when that same energy comes through from the outside world. So it doesn't affect you the same way that it did. Your response to that type of energy is neutral. It's different. You don't pay attention to it the way you used to. You don't get triggered by it in the same ways. It's actually quite peaceful. It's more of a peaceful and harmonious energy, which, again, I'm saying we're not accepting bad behavior. We're just not feeding into it. So this is the key to becoming the magician of our life, right? An alchemist, where we're taking a difficult emotion and we're transmuting it and we're transforming it. It takes a lot of time and self-awareness. From our, perspective, we need to be more in alignment, and we need to be more present with ourselves. So if we're constantly getting distracted, obviously this type of shadow work, this type of work is more difficult because we're not in the moment. We need to be present with this. We need to be grounded. So if you guys would like some guidance, I am still reading charts, birth charts. So you can book a birth chart reading. We could take a look at your own soul's blueprint to see what your patterns are, how you can break out of them, because guys, Uranus, Aquarius, Saturn, this is all about breaking out of old patterns. So check my bio here on Instagram. If you're watching this on Instagram, I'm going to paste the Linktree link here on my YouTube channel. If you're watching me on YouTube, if astrology is not something that you're interested in, you just want me to look at your cards and give you some guidance with the cards and channel messages from your spirit guides, that is also a possibility. So click in the link in my bio and you'll see all the options there for you. I am wishing you a beautiful new moon in Aquarius. I know that you might feel like a little bit of a crazy person, or people around you might be acting a little crazy or out of character. This is completely normal. We have like 6 planets in Aquarius in February. So let's try to stay grounded and let's start to be more appreciative